area. We all have different abilities. And here at AbilityMKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of disability is a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own, with people we know, or with people we encounter in our everyday lives. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. And joining us today as my co-host is Michael Martin Hummel. Michael is a writer, speaker, and podcaster who works to bridge the gap between disabled and able-bodied people. So glad to have you here, Michael. How are you?
I'm glad to be here. Thank you. I'm
Glad
good.
to have you here. And this is, oh my goodness, an unusual evening on our end. We've got a pretty good storm here coming through Milwaukee, and our internet is actually down. So we are, we're totally shaking up things here tonight. And I am going to be leaning on you guys just a bit. This is actually today, being the day before Thanksgiving. I do want to just take a quick moment and just say how incredibly thankful I am for all of what's available here with us. Thankful for River West Radio, thankful for having this show, for our wonderful co-host Michael being here. And we have an Emily in the background here helping out with getting all the things in place with Zoom, with us all being together. We have two guests joining us, both of whom came kind of at the last minute, and I could not be more grateful for you both stepping up and joining us here tonight. First up, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Doug Cornfield. He's a guy who, if you've been listening to the show for any length of time, really needs no introduction. He actually was running this for a long time, and I could not be happier to have you back joining us tonight. So Doug, come on in and give us some updates. What's all happening with you?
Craziness. Can't give all the updates, but craziness. We did several events this year with our Disability Dream and Do sports camps, and Dave Clark and Dave Stevens obviously continue to be a big part of that. And then now we're launching the Dugout movement. So hopefully we get to talk about that. And that's kind of our new marketing strategy to raise money and get people involved in Disability Dream and Do.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Actually, I would like to hear more about that for sure. Let's go ahead. I know we've got another guest joining us. I would love to have her join the conversation right away. And then, yes, I do want to go back and pick up on that. We have Claire Wetmore joining us as well. And Claire, if you could come on in and hop in and introduce yourself to all of us as well, please. So glad you're here.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm Claire. I get the privilege of teaching financial literacy and making sure that people have what they need to build more secure futures.
Oh my gosh, that's everybody needs that. So glad you are here and able to share with us. Doug, why don't you go ahead and dive in a bit? I do want to hear more of what is all happening with you.
Oh my gosh, we only have 29 minutes on the River West Radio, so we got to be careful. But no, so I want to say the same old things because it's never old when you're running sports camps for the children and young adults that we get to do. We worked with the Phillies this year, the Twins this year. We were in San Jose with the Giants organization. We were with the Yankees again in Hudson Valley. We did a couple of other events, one in Rochester, one in Corning, New York. And, it's just having the Daves with me. It continued just to be an amazing inspiration. Had a really great event specifically this year with the Philadelphia Phillies organization. Their manager has an older brother with Down syndrome. And when he met us a year ago at the Yankees organization, he was the visiting manager, and he wound up volunteering on a game day to the D3 day camp when he wasn't even the manager for the home team. He was the visiting manager. Loved what we did. I got to meet him, just a young man with just a heart of gold. But obviously, this meant something to him. He's got an older brother with Down syndrome. And when he met us, he says, "Doug, I need to bring D3 Day and Disability Dream and Do to my teams." And he's already committed. He's kind of one of these managers that's on the way up. He's a young man. He hopes to manage in the major league someday. And he says, as far as I'm concerned, Disability Dream and Do will be wherever I go. And so we just had just a wonderful camp. He had every player on the field with the folks that came out from the Jersey Shore area. We had a big group for a first time year. They all get T-shirts. They all get hats. We did a ball promo for the first time this year, where our little softy balls that we used, they were logoed and sponsored. And then the it didn't happen the next day because we had a rain delay, so we had to come back a couple weeks later toward the end of the season. But all the children and young adults from that came to that game that day, they got to throw these softy balls into the crowd. And as far as I know, it's the first time something like this was ever done, where a group of folks with disabilities got to be a part of the promo of actually giving children or giving the whole crowd these softy balls. And as soon as they found out these softy balls were available, of course everybody wanted one, and we threw out about 200 balls into the crowd. So it was a lot of fun. So that's part of it, and then the other part of it is the dugout movement. The dugout movement. There's something special. If for folks that know the dugout, and there's other things that could be the dugout. It can be the locker room, could be your home, it could be your living room where people hang out. But the dugout is kind of that safe space where people can come. They can disagree. Like tomorrow, we're going to have people around the table and many of the families in this country, and they're not all going to be on the same page. They're going to think differently politically, maybe religiously, all these things. But when you're in the dugout, you can be safe to share your viewpoints, and these people are still going to love you. And then you go out on the field and you compete in life, or you compete in a game. And you know what? Even if they disagree with you, you're still trying to win, and you're trying to be for each other, and you're trying to catch a ball, hit a ball, run a ball, whatever the situation is in life. And so in the dugout movement, we're inclusive. We want folks of all races, all abilities, all political viewpoints, whatever it is, but we come together. We get to share our viewpoints, share our love, and then we have this lovable, now the Doug dog, which is, if you can see the screen up here, we got this lovable Doug dog. The marketing group named it Doug, D-U-G, not D-O-U-G like my name. But I guess it's my last time in life that I can actually be cute. But we have this lovable plushy dog that's being made. We're in prototype right now. But the whole point is to get this lovable dog into the hands of people, to raise money for the sports camps that we do. But a dog means so much more. A dog is loyal, and a dog is comforting. And of course, if you can't see it on the radio right now, but if you can just believe me, this is a beautiful high end. It'll be a collectible. Each dog will be numbered individually, and we're going to be doing a campaign to get Doug the dog into people worldwide. And because they named it after me, and I have my two Daves, and if you guys have listened to the show in the past, Dave Clark, Dave Stevens, they're amazing men. Dave Clark, the only professional baseball player that ever played on crutches. Dave Stevens, 7-time Emmy Award winner, 3-sport athlete. He played all those sports with no legs, and he was a 7-time Emmy Award winner with ESPN. And so these two amazing Daves, they're going to have a dog too. One's going to be playing baseball on crutches, and one's going to be on a skateboard, to get around and looking cool. And it's going to be an amazing lineup of dogs, but dogs for a cause. And they're going to be heroes. These dogs are actually going to be digitized in the digital world on games and things like that. And we're working on those branding options as well right now. But from our perspective, it's so that we can get more people included in our Disability Dream and Do sports camps, raise that continual revenue that we've been in search for since COVID shut our revenue sources down. And people can join the dugout movement right now very inexpensively to help us get started. And we're doing webinars about that. And it's not a donation. We're not seeking donations. We're seeking sponsors, contributing sponsors, and they'll actually be in a pool where they will have the opportunity, once the dogs sell, they'll actually get their money back with a dog and potentially some other net revenue. We don't want to promise what that is, but we're not looking for donations. We're looking for contributions to get the initial funding so we can order our dogs and get them sold and get these lovable dogs into the hands of many, many people that will be impacted by them.
That's awesome.
I absolutely love that. That is going to be a huge success. And when do you anticipate the rollout being of those being available?
So Kickstarter hopefully will start as early as mid next year. As far as getting people to a chance to order a dog, order a couple dogs. We'll probably use our connections because if you can see the picture of it, the Doug dog is holding a baseball, and so we'll likely get some of those baseballs signed by hopefully. So I'm not gonna throw out the names that I'm gonna go for, but it'd be names in the sports world that you would know. And of course, those particular Doug dogs with a specific signed ball will probably be, auctioned off or priced out a little higher. And we're hoping, sometime mid to late next year we'll do those kind of rollouts. Right now we're putting the campaign together and asking for contributing sponsors, and we're branding with brand sponsors, and people can get involved and very inexpensively. We're not asking for millions of dollars from everybody. It's in the hundreds of what we're asking to get started. And again, it's not a donation, it's a contribution, it's a sponsoring contribution.
Very nice. And now you're mentioning all those different locations where you had D3 Day taking place this past year. How many events did you end up holding?
So we're actually still not up to the speed of what we were before COVID, but we did 6 full events this year. We did some speaking events and some online events and things like that as well. But we're still not up to the amount that we did before COVID kind of. I'd say it pushed our train off the track, but at least we got the train back on the track and we're moving down the road. We got some expenses that keep creeping up. It's gotten a lot more expensive to do our events, so we need more sponsors. We need more, but everybody does, and so that's why we're trying to do something different with the dugout movement. For those that know us or knew of us, in our local areas and in Florida, New York, we actually used to sell honey as our primary fundraiser for D3 Day. But COVID put such a hammer on that we had to pivot and do something different. And just like people with disabilities, they get knocked down, you figure out, well, okay, what do I do now? Because I got to do something different. And that's what we're doing with Disability Dream and Do. And that's why we created the dugout movement.
That is spectacular. I love it. I'm excited to hear more about where this is going, and look forward to more stories on that next year. And I'm one. I always love stories. Can you share any particular participant perhaps that stood out to you from this past year, and what had maybe happened and what that meant to you?
We have so many stories with the participants. Let me go back actually a year, because I just posted this, so it's fresh on my mind. We were in Rochester, New York, and we had this beautiful little girl that was a participant in our D3 Day camp in Rochester, and she was on a walker. She was very slow, probably 5 or 6 years old, and maybe even younger. I'm not even 100% sure. But just a beautiful smile on her face, the kind that makes you melt. And we do what's called the high five game at the end of our camps. It's the last thing that we do, where every child gets kind of highlighted. They get to hit the ball one more time, and it's usually a pro player, a college player pitching them the ball, and then they get to run around the bases or walk around the bases or roll around the bases or whatever their scenarios are. And they get to go around the bases. It's like a wiffle ball sized field is that we throw out in the outfield. And this little girl, it was her time to get up, and I think she even needed help, and her mom was there, and she hits the ball, and then she starts walking, and she makes sure she stops. She's walking on her walker. It's very slow in this case. Some kids whip around and go as fast as they can. She's just going as slow. She's going slow, very methodical, and she high fives every one of these players. And she goes around. I don't even know how long it took her. So finally, she gets all the way around third base. She's coming in. She's smiling. She's smiling. Everybody's just adoring her because she's just it's just that kind of adoring little girl. She finally touches home base. She high fives Dave Clark, who's beside her. And I'm filming this on my phone. I don't do a lot of that, but every once in a while I got to catch a moment. And she touches home base. She's on her walker. She's walking on her walker. And then she just looks at me in the camera, and she's with the biggest smile. She just starts clapping. And she keeps clapping. And she keeps smiling. And she keeps clapping, and she keeps smiling, and all of a sudden everybody else is like snickering, and we're like laughing with her and enjoying the moment with her. And she starts looking around to everybody else. She looks at her mom, who's smiling and practically crying, and this little girl just with the biggest smile. She just got to do running. She got to walk around the bases after she hit a ball. and participate in that way. And when she got to home base, she completed it. And then it just, for whatever reason, she just started applauding, and she kept applauding. And I got my camera held there, my phone in this case held there. And I said, honey, you can clap for me all day long if you want, because it was like she was applauding what we do. And of course, we were just so thrilled by that kind of spirit, that a little child can just kind of have that reaction at our D3 day camp. And the reason I mentioned that one, because, I could go on and on and on with moments, but that particular one was I just posted it again because it's such a special moment to me.
It's cute.
Absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh. And you said you posted it. Where is this, on Facebook or on your website?
Yeah, I think I did that one on Facebook. I think I did one on LinkedIn as well. Not sure I did it on Instagram this time. It's been on Instagram, but it was just a recent post on D3 Day on Facebook, and I might have even done it on my personal Facebook. I don't do it all the time on my personal Facebook, but because I was holding the camera and I was kind of involved in the video, talking to her and just having a moment with her, I think I might have put it on my personal Facebook too. I think we have it on YouTube as well from before. But it's a beautiful video. She's a beautiful little girl, and just if you don't get warmed by seeing a little girl like that respond at our D3 day camp, then your heart's pretty much rock solid.
Oh my gosh. So as we're, again, coming into Thanksgiving here, if you need a heartwarming moment, there's plenty available with what you all do. And can you imagine that? I'm picturing, even at the dinner table at Thanksgiving, seeing relatives you haven't seen for a long time. I can only imagine how many of stories from the D3 day camps are taking place, across the country, because that would definitely be a highlight for participants to be sharing with family and friends.
Yeah, we create moments of magic. I picked that up from a blog that was written years ago by a mother that attended our camp, or had a child attend our camp in Nashville, Tennessee. And she actually fought coming to our camp. She didn't know anything about us. She didn't know why it was free. She thought maybe they were going to try to get her to pay for stuff when she was there and all that kind of stuff. She just didn't understand it because she'd never done it. But she kind of talked herself into bringing her daughter, because her daughter was in a wheelchair and her son was a star athlete. So her daughter was always watching her brother. And in this case, she got to participate. And so the mother kind of does this long blog of almost like complaining about why she didn't want to come to D3 Day, talking herself into it. And then she comes, and then she stops about halfway through the blog. And she said, and then she saw a team of children, and I couldn't have said it better than that mother said it. And because that's what happens at D3 Day. We put pro players and college players, and we get children and young adults on a field, all ages, all different disabilities, and we give them T-shirts, we give them hats, so they get get a little bit of love, as far as getting gifts and things. And then we put a baseball bat in their hand, or we put a ball in their hand, and if they don't have hands, we have to figure out something different. So there's just so many different things that we have to deal with, and they just get to belong for a day. And then they get to meet my Daves. When you're meeting Dave Clark and Dave Stevens, and you're a child or a young adult, and maybe you're wondering, well, what can I do in life? And because you've got these limitations, and people are telling you, maybe don't do that because of whatever your situation is. And then a Dave Clark comes up, and he gets up on his crutches, or he's in his wheelchair or in his scooter, and he starts talking about his story. And he says, you know what? My mother didn't hold me back. When I wanted to play ice hockey, she let me play ice hockey. Well, Dave, you can't skate. Well, I'll figure it out. And he played goalie, and he played goalie in college. And then he pitched in the minor league baseball on his crutches. And Dave Stevens, no legs, played baseball, played football, wrestled, 2-time state champion wrestler, 7-time Emmy Award winner. And so I get to introduce these men, and these families get to meet these Daves. And what an inspiration to say, you know what, maybe my child can do something. Let's figure out what that is. Let's explore that potential. And those are the things that Days are encouraging these families to let these children, these young adults, find out what they can do. It might not be to get on a baseball field, but it might be they can sing. We have one girl that did our camps for years. She's got a beautiful voice. She's sang with Steven Tyler. She's done all these things. She's done national anthems at big stadiums, and she's completely blind. And she came to our camps as a little girl, and she was, she got to have that experience, and so she explored her potential in the singing world, and it could be in the business world. We have stories of that. And so whatever the limitations are, we just want to know that, you know what, you might have to do it differently. You might even have to work harder. You know what? But do it, do it, and see where it goes.
I absolutely love it. Now, I know, Claire, you're here yet too. I want to make sure to bring you on in. Do you have any questions? What thoughts are on your mind right now?
I just love this. I'm just listening in, and I mean, I've never heard of it, but I'm glad I'm here. Um,
Well,
I
good,
think
Claire.
that what you're
I've
doing
I've
is just
I I've interviewed both Daves. I want to meet them.
They're
um,
pretty good guys, and they're both very similar yet both very different, and of course, Dave Clark's my business partner and longtime friend, and for those that don't know, Claire, you don't know, and Michael, you might remember, but I have a son that was born with neither arm developed, and when he was just a baby is when I found out about Dave Clark. And as an inquiring parent, I wound up meeting Dave and then having breakfast with Dave and learning about his story and asking him questions about what did your parents do and I remember our first breakfast that Dave Clark and I had. I can't remember much about it. I remember where it was. I remember kind of thinking, how did this guy play professional baseball? What I mean, because that was just real. He was in a scooter at that point. And he just said, my parents didn't hold me back, but at the end of the breakfast, he looked at me and he said, Doug, nobody's ever asked me questions like you're asking me. Because mostly people would ask him, where did you play? What pitches you do? This and that. And that wasn't, I was like, what happened in school? What did your parents do? What were the things that they said to you? How did your parents encourage you, to not hold you back, I don't even know the words that I said, but I know it was along those lines of the questioning. And then after that day, Dave and I built a friendship. And it didn't take me long where I'm like, his story ought to be a movie. Well, we've had 3 iterations of it now. We have a new script right now. So we have some big hitters. I'm not going to throw names out right now, but there's people that are gaining interest in his story again. And Dave Stevens' story should be a movie. They're just two incredible men that actually paved the way for a lot of folks with disabilities and took a lot of grief. People don't know that with Dave Clark when he went on a mound and pitched in minor league baseball in the mid '70s. People were throwing food on the floor, saying "knock the cripple bastard out." And I don't know, so I'm allowed to say bastard. So sorry, River West Radio, you're gonna have to bleep that one. But anyway, they'll kick me off. That's all right. But it's just what people did. People wouldn't do that today, but that's what they did to Dave Clark, and they didn't want him to play because he was somebody with a disability that was different. You know what? But he got people out. He had to figure out a knuckleball and threw, and he was competitive. And I've never met anybody more competitive than Dave Clark. And I grew up with a father who said, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. And he was a world class runner. So I know competition. Dave Clark takes it to a whole nother level. He's very competitive. And so he took that competitive nature of, he hated to lose. He didn't want to lose. He feared losing, but he took it to a positive way. How do I figure out how to win? And that's I think, and I don't have a disability. I was a full scholarship athlete, but having a son with a disability, I had to come with a different perspective. My son's now independent. He's working. He's got his own place. Does his own thing. He's living his life. He's been a big part of D3 Day in the past, and probably hopefully will be in the future. But it's amazing to see people succeed and not let their limitations hold them back.
yeah, I think that's something
Love
a
it.
lot of people can take from that because I think the world tries to beat us down, and you can do anything in life if you put your mind to it, no matter where you stand.
Yeah. I mean, there's limitations, there's ceilings you're going to hit, but then you pivot and you find the next thing, and we hit ceilings with Disability Dream and Do. All of a sudden, we had teams that wouldn't let us be on the field. You couldn't be on the field. COVID. Well, you can't get sponsors if you can't do events. And if you can't do events, and then they said you couldn't fundraise here either because of COVID. And then you don't have revenue, and so we had to figure out something different. We're still figuring it out. And we'll keep moving.
Well, I, for one, know a beautiful young boy who's gonna love one of those dogs for me. So
Well, good. Come, we are doing a webinar on December 11th. I haven't posted it yet, but Claire and Michael, if you want to help promote that for me, and same thing with you, Sue. We're trying to get people involved at an early level to help us get the funding so that we can launch this thing. I do have a international marketing group that's pretty well connected. And it's not just me trying to do it. It's a team of people trying to get this thing launched, and it's pretty exciting. There's a lot of people that are gaining interest in. Well, again, you can't see it on the radio, but Doug is cute. Not this Doug, not me, Doug, but Dug is super cute. And because I'm a Georgia Bulldog, I think I'm going to start. It's going to be Doug Dog, Dawg, for my Georgia Bulldogs, since I'm a Bulldog. So it'll be the Doug Dog, Dug, Dawg. All for the great
I love
cause. All for the great cause.
amazing. And Claire, I know we are getting close to the end here on our time, but I want to take just a moment here and because you said you are involved with financial literacy, and I know that with that you're all about helping people. That's just the heart of teaching with whatever realm that is. You want to just take a moment and tell a bit more about that end of what you're all doing?
absolutely. Well, I get the privilege of kind of paving the way for my family and other families and making sure that you have more of a secure future no matter what that looks like. Unfortunately, a lot of people right now are living paycheck to paycheck and they're one paycheck away from poverty. And that's just kind of the bottom line right now. And so I get to go help them meet them where they're at and say, okay, like, what are your goals and dreams? And we'll help you get there. We'll figure it out. Whether you're in a lot of debt, I help a lot of people get out of that strategically. I help people start planning for their future and build an emergency fund. And I'm really excited to say that we're changing legacies and breaking generational curses. And that's just something that I've had to I experienced that. My family came from poverty and I never really had the education for finances. I was told to go get a good job and work there for the rest of my life and they'll take care of me. And it's just kind of not the way it works anymore. So, yeah, I'm very excited. But thank you guys for having me. This has been amazing.
Excellent. Well, and do you have a website that we can share out?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll let you have it. I'll drop it in the chat.
Perfect. So, and I cannot thank you guys enough for being here tonight. Again, this is Claire Wetmore and with financial literacy, and Doug Cornfield with Disability Dream and Do with D3 Day. I could not be more thankful for the combination of what we've got going on here tonight. Emily, with all the help you've done to make this all come together, Michael always being here and being a solid member of this team. I'm so excited for all of the great things that are happening out there. This is amazing. Truly, this couldn't be more perfect as we come into this Thanksgiving holiday. And as we all are going forward here through this holiday season, look for the things that are good. Look where you can be thankful. And for all of us here with AbilityMKE Now, we thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.